Yo, what's going on, guys? Khalil here, again, bringing you guys my part 2 from my Beating the Format series. I guess you could call it a series. This one, I'm just going to be talking about, I already discussed the decks. And one quick note, I'm sure you guys know already, but the Xyz ruling has changed. I'm not going to get into that. Everyone else has been posting about that. So, the only major difference I would see, of course, Tour Guide and Tengus and Zombies. That deck will not be making a comeback, sadly. And we don't have to worry about opening Tour Guide and them +1 on us with a 2500 beater on the field anymore. That's really good. But Tour Guide still will be a good card. But on to what I'm talking about. Since the ban list, since you guys already know we're in a new format, there are two major changes to the game that I'm going to be discussing with you guys. We'll get straight into it. First change. I'm going to talk about boss monsters. Alright, so Blackluster Soldier is just one example of why this format is going to be a boss monster format. We already have Dad still. Dad's always been one of the staple boss monsters in Dark decks. We now have Blackluster Soldier. JD is at 3. And Hyperion is still... agents are still a relevant deck. So, yeah. So the problem with this is not that Konami only added boss monsters, but they took away this card. They took away Royal Oppression, which is the main card that stopped boss monsters. It was an unfair card at time. It did take skill to play, but this does hurt decks that don't run a lot of boss monsters and everything. So with that being said, now that Royal Oppression is gone and boss monsters are free to roam free and everything, we're going to have to combat it. So, here's my take on it. First of all, you could go Stun, Archlord Christia. These are just some examples. This is actually a really random example, but this card is really good. It's basically a suckier version of Fossil Dyna. I don't have a Fossil Dyna, but Fossil Dyna would be probably the best stun card right now to stop your opponent's special summons and everything. Of course, you would have to protect it and everything, but yeah. So that's just one example of replacing Oppression and stopping those boss monsters and everything. Next up, talk about Veiler. I feel like Veiler is way more important in this format than it was last format. Just because you're going to see higher monster counts now. To my knowledge, we don't have the OCG's priority ruling yet, so priority still is in effect for the TCG. So, Effect Veiler is very, very powerful with this format. I am running 2 in my main deck. I suggest everyone do at least 1, but I would do 2. So, Effect Veiler is good. A good way to counter that. The last major way I see of countering the loss of Oppression and the gain of boss monsters, I would say the cards like these, the OTK stoppers. Sometimes you're not going to have a Veiler, okay? You're not going to have a Veiler, you're not going to have a Fossil Dyna or a stun card. So, once they do wipe your field, once they do JDU, or once they do push for that double attack with the Blackluster Soldier, once they make their big boss monster plays, these are the perfect cards to stop them. Trag is at 2 now. I would recommend playing 2. Gores should be a staple in almost every deck. Very rarely do I see people not playing Gores. Battle Fader, I would consider a tech. Because most people don't play these outside of Monarchs, but 1 or 2 in a random deck, it's not exactly a bad idea, you know, especially this format. It also allows you to tech in a random Caius, gives your glow up bulb plays and everything for your 1 Formula Synchron. So, yeah, this is what I think to combat your boss monsters and everything. It's really going to be interesting to see. Like I said, Veiler isn't as important as it used to be because with the Xyz ruling, it was almost mandatory to play 2. Like, you had to play 2 to stand a chance. But now that that's gone, this isn't as important. You could probably get away with playing 1. Cards like these are probably good side deck cards. I would call it a tech if you do put it into your main deck, but I would suggest these to be side decks. and these, I feel like these are going to be very necessary this format. Main deck these if you can. So yeah, that's the first part. Second thing I want to discuss is how we are playing back rows. Now that this guy is back, and we have 3 of these, everyone is very confused. There's no rule. It's very hard to construct decks, construct side decks, even hard to play, because you're looking at your back row not lasting very long. The way I see it, I play Monarchs, so I don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, for those of you who do play heavy back row, or you want to, or you used to play heavy back row, you can take advantage of this in 2 different ways. So the first way, it's pretty obvious. It should be obvious, but it seems like people are still struggling with it. So first up, I'm going to talk about chainable traps. Traps like Trap Dust Shoot and Mind Crush, which should be staple this format if you're playing heavy back row, because since these cards are back, your opponent will not be setting heavy back rows, more than likely. So they will be keeping a heavy hand, and you're going to see higher monster counts as well. So Trap Dust Shoot and Mind Crush, it just rapes them. It rapes your opponent. It punishes your opponent for not falling into these cards, you know. Mind Crush is a little better, actually, I'd say, because now that we have Duality as a super rare, we have so many searchers like Sangan, etc. I don't want to get into it, but Mind Crush does seem a little better now it's at 2. It does seem like Konami was a little smart in the way they planned it, where they're going to bring this back, and they knew that this would change the game, so they brought back Mind Crush to kind of balance the game out too. So yeah, Trap Dust Shoot's 1. Call of the Haunted, I would definitely consider another. I'd play this in my Monarchs now. The thing is, if you have floaters in the graveyard, set this card, and if you don't play a lot of back row, they're gonna be holding on to one of these, waiting for you to set something. They're gonna blind MST into it because they're so eager to make use of that dead card in their hand. You chain it and you just plus off of them. So really, cards like that. Same goes for Trap Dust Shoot, or I guess I would say Mind Crush more. Make them waste an MST or a heavy on it, and then you can chain it and call a card. If hopefully you call it right. Hopefully you've been paying attention to what their hand was or how they've been playing. So chainable traps. Compulse would be my last chainable trap that I want to talk about, because Xyz is still a 1 card out to Xyz and Synchros. It gets rid of those cards. It's chainable. So yeah. Now that's that way. The other way I want to discuss is keep setting your heavy back rows and play this card. Play 2 of those. Easy answer. I'm surprised really that I haven't seen more people doing that. Decks that would benefit from Starlight Road would be Tech Genius, TG stun decks, any stun decks, Gadget stuns. Gravekeepers should be playing these. Don't worry. Your Necro Valley play, you're going to have to be really, really careful with your Necro Valleys now, because there's 3 MSTs floating around, and people could go side deck into Dust Tornadoes for all you know. But that's all I can say. Set for all you want as long as you have this card. So yeah, that's basically all I have for this segment, guys. It's all my take on it. If you guys disagree with me, feel free to comment or anything. If you guys think I left anything out, definitely let me know. But that's my take on the game right now. It's going to be a very interesting format. Like I said about the ruling, I'm very happy about it. I'm sure everyone is that doesn't have tour guides and stuff. So I think it's very healthy for the game. But until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Peace out.